A string of outbursts and brawls have left courthouses across the country more chaotic than ever.
Wild scuffle.
Chaos in the courtroom has become a legitimate threat around the country.
Lose it in the courtroom.
At the beginning of March, this dramatic scene was captured by a security camera in a New York City courtroom.
Can really become seriously dangerous, if not deadly.
To lunge at a prosecutor.
You've got to be very, very careful.
Violence is a growing concern for judges and attorneys throughout North America. Over the years, state and federal Congresses have addressed the issue, but in reality, little has changed. Preventative measures are at the mercy of budgets, and when those measures fail, judges and attorneys are left to fend for themselves. The internet is littered with explosive video of witnesses and defendants losing control and lashing out. The result? Judges and attorneys being injured and even killed. Situational Self-Defense is an organization committed to providing risk assessment, crisis management, and self-defense training for specific workplaces, such as courtrooms, healthcare facilities, and schools. This continuing education series is designed specifically for attorneys and judges who face a growing epidemic in North America: violence in their workplace. Our motto: to defend those who defend us. This short video is designed to show you what situational self-defense can do for you and your state.
Okay, here we're going to be talking about the mentality of our attacker. For the most part, these guys have nothing to lose. They're either going to jail, they're already in jail, they've been faced with many levels of confrontation in their life. They know how to fight in an aggressive, adrenaline-charged way. They're going to come at you, they're going to come at you hard and fast, they're going to be throwing punches, hitting you. And from the perspective of trying to be defensive, that's only part of it. We also have to be assertive in our position, assertive in our ability to counterattack if necessary, to move to safety. We have to be quick, we have to be effective. These guys, they're coming from a place of rage, of anger that is maybe inconceivable for most of us to understand. So when these guys are angry and they want to come at you because of whoever you are, they've painted you as the target, and they're going to do everything they can. They commit their whole being to attacking you. So we want to come from a place where we're understanding that before we ever get into the confrontation. We stand our ground, we set our boundaries, and if necessary, we defend ourselves.
When discussing preventative measures, we must first realize that there's really very little an attorney can do without self-defense training to prevent something like this other than to really know their client, and this is not always possible. To decide whether or not you might be dealing with a potentially violent person or situation, consider the following. Consider whether the person is alleged to have been violent or abusive in the past, and whether or not the person is presently employed or not. Consider whether the person has access to guns or other weapons. Consider if the couple is in litigation, whether they're separated or whether separation is being threatened. Consider whether the person is not functioning well. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they're not working normally. Consider whether the person has a history of psychiatric problems or depression. Consider whether the person has undergone previous treatment for domestic violence or anger management issues. Consider whether the person has rigid thoughts and beliefs. Consider whether the person lacks problem-solving skills or whether the person is obsessed with the victim or the lawyer. Consider if one of the parties in a case believes that he or she owns the other person. Consider whether the person has a history of antisocial behavior, assault on others, stalking, domestic violence, substance abuse. Consider whether the person has violated a protection order or another court order. Consider whether the person is currently or previously has violated probation. Consider whether the person is isolated, having few friends or family to interact with, so he or she tends to have no one with whom to bounce off ideas or express frustration. Consider whether the person has expressed suicidal, homicidal, or thoughts or behavior. Consider whether the person has a long developing and identifiable trail of conflicts, disputes, and failures or significant losses. Consider whether the person believes that violence, such as a physical attack, arson, homicide, or suicide, is inevitable if the outcome of the case is not in his or her favor. Most importantly, consider if the person has made threats. Threats can be direct, they can be conditional, or they can be veiled. In our continuing education series, we teach the attorney how to assess the risk they might be facing. With the aid of experts in the field of risk management, we have compiled the best risk assessment checklist and support that checklist with a complete understanding of how to use it.
Okay, we're going to be working on being attacked from the side or the front, and as a smaller person or a person maybe doesn't have the same body mass, we need to be able to defend ourselves. And when we're talking about the interactions in the courtroom, also we're expecting bailiffs or sheriffs to come into the room to assist in a confrontation. So we have a time frame of 15, 20, 30, maybe even 45 seconds before we have someone helping us. That's a long time in a fight. So being able to close the distance and prevent an assailant, in this circumstance, Mark, if he was throwing the wild haymaker punch to my head, and I'm in, about a 3-foot range, I'm in prime range for his punch. If I was to try and move back, I'm giving him the momentum to continue to come forward and strike. And if I'm a smaller person, he's got considerable mass and energy coming forward, I can get just run over. At the same time, if the initiation of the attack, if I'm standing from the side and I turn and I face and I cover up to get in close, and he's trying to strike me and I'm trying to defend myself, I have to be very careful in terms of how I protect my head, my neck, my back. So when I'm in a situation, I want to be learning to bring my shoulders up to help protect my jawline, bring my chin in, my hands come up, my elbows come up. So I'm in a good defensive position. Most of the wounds that I may get and the impact injuries would be on the outsides of my arms. So if I'm standing from the side and Mark comes at me, I want to turn and drop a little bit down into his core. Again, I'm in my base fight stance. If Mark was to back off at this point, I'm in my base fight stance. My back is straight, my hands are up, just like I demonstrated standing up. I'm in the same posture and position here. So as he comes back in and I drop into him to defend, I still have the capacity to hit and strike if I need that. I have the ability at this point to move and defend. If he continues to try and hit me. So I'm trying to move and defend. I want to protect myself by staying close to him.
Self-defense in the courtroom is not our only focus. The safety of the attorney or judge, wherever they are, is, regardless of whether it's in the car, on the street, or at home. Attorneys and judges do not enjoy the benefit of private life. They live a public life, just like the people they serve. Our training includes how, when, and why a person attacks, how to defend yourself in an attack, and how to fight back to make sure that you get out of there in one piece. Weapons that are available to people in a courtroom, and how to establish a proper risk assessment based on what you see and what you know about your client or someone else's client. And what's more, you'll get hands-on practice of the techniques in an unforgettable scenario-based training session.
So as the assailant comes forward, lowering yourself down to the ground, curling in a bit of a ball, the foot is up to be able to strike the face, kicking other targets like the groin, the knees. Good. So you're in a nice tight position, your hands are up to protect yourself from the front, your chin is on your chest to protect your head from smashing the floor, your one hip is elevated to protect your spine, and you have an ability to move left and right by rolling and turning. That's it. Good. Lots of mobility, lots of defense. So creating space and time for yourself.
We have the simple, no-nonsense program that your state needs. No one should feel threatened at work. For more information, please go to situationalselfdefenseinc.com or contact us at 303-443-3343. If you'd like to send us an email to receive more information, please email us at info@situationalselfdefenseinc.com. Thank you very much for your time. Let us know how we can serve your state.